to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George. Hello everybody and welcome in to the Cinementalists. Today we continue our journey through Middle-earth with Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. This was released on December 18th, 2002. It was written for the screen by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, Stephen Sinclair, and Peter Jackson, based on the novel, of course, by J.R.R. Tolkien, and directed by Peter Jackson. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And we are, we're living. We're living right now. This was a first watch for the both of us, unlike last week. Fellowship was a third watch for me and a first watch for you, but now we're on even footing. For the most part. I have read the books, but that's, it's a little neither here nor there when it comes to the theatrical edition, specifically this movie.
Okay.
Did you feel, and I'm just going to jump right into it here. Did you feel more than Fellowship? And you obviously have not read the books, but even so, that's why I'm more curious about it.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell this one will benefit more from an extended edition than Fellowship will?
Yeah, I won't lie. There's a few characters that, like, I understand their purpose for the movie and like why they're in there, but like it was kind of through that I'm like, oh, this probably is their history, or like maybe I didn't catch it in some exposition or stuff like that. I feel like there's like what's that dude, like that creepy worm tongue, I feel like
Worm Tongue. Yeah.
I feel like he's one that there's some stuff up in the air a little bit, like just I don't know, a few
basically everything that happens at Rohan.
Yeah.
Theodred and
Yes.
Yeoman and Eowyn, like all of them. That gets like, when I was watching this, that might be my only gripe compared to the books so far. Because not that I'm saying, well, the movie's done everything exactly right. You know, like I can't really tell you that, but I can tell you one thing they haven't done justice is that, whenever Theodred, or I believe it's Theodred. No, it's not. Theoden, the patriarch of the family, the one who was being controlled and, Theoden. Whenever he like gets his autonomy back and then he goes after Wormtongue and all that, and Wormtongue's like cowering and stuff. In the books, spoilers for Game of Thrones, if you haven't watched that, skip forward a little bit. It feels like whenever Littlefinger gets caught in season 7 of Thrones, and they like turn the tables on him, and he's like, wait, no. Like, there's like an overwhelmingly emotional satisfaction to that, because you know, like you just have a little bit more with them. That happens very quick in this movie, very soon after you meet them. And I get why it has to. You know, we got a lot more going on. This just felt like the first time the theatrical editions might have suffered from not being able to dive as deeply as the books. Because when it came to Fellowship, it felt like they just axed entire stories, not parts of stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had to reduce important storylines to their basic necessities in the theatrical cut here. And not that it suffers for that. It's still a damn good movie. But I mean, I guess maybe it does suffer from that a little bit, but not as much as I might be making it sound like.
It's crazy that the runtime is still 3 hours.
Oh my God, this thing fucking flies.
Yeah, and I'm still wanting more. Like, I do still have that same feeling of like, I need to watch the extended versions. Like, I'm going to eventually run through this again, and I'm going to want the more information. And this one, it just kind of turned it up to 10, because I mean, I'm like, I don't know if I'm confused, or like there's just kind of a lot of moving parts, and I think the bigger good versus evil thing is never hard to keep track of and everything like that. But just the little politics details that, I mean, I think were really, really cool, like points of the story of just, it's kind of this last, I don't know, keep of man. I don't, and just the whole world is about to be destroyed, and no one. I don't know, just kind of bringing little bit by bit everyone into the fight. I don't know. It was just
Yeah.
it has that kind of, I don't know. It just has. I wouldn't say the like magical or kind of all encompassing feeling of Fellowship. Like Fellowship just felt like we're starting this journey
It's a
together.
breath of
It's like
fresh air. Yeah.
yeah, and great. But and then like here, there's not really much good that like not really like many wins that happen
No.
for the good guys. Like it pretty much is just all
It's
downhill
Empire.
and all
Yeah.
yeah. And so I guess it's just it doesn't feel good as good the whole time, but it's like the same mission. I don't know. We're on the same mission. We're on. It's just a continuation.
Well,
But
and that's what's crazy too is that like if the ending wasn't so fucking great, I do wonder how much I would love this movie because I do come out of it loving the movie, but I do think it's in part because Gandalf shows up and then the floodgates open and then Frodo's like, "It's me, it's your Sam. Don't you know your Sam?" And then he delivers the whole, there's still good in the world and that's why it's worth fighting for and all that. Like, if all of that doesn't happen one after the other, which it was always going to, but still, like, this movie hits like a fucking truck at the end because of that. And it's a long walk for not a short drink of water. That's a great payoff. But, yeah, the Battle of Helm's Deep is almost an hour of this movie. Like, it is the entire last act, the Battle of Helm's Deep.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this. I feel like we brought up Game of Thrones earlier and like how Littlefinger kind of was pretty telling there, like how the similarities. But
Yeah, Wormtongue.
I think this battle, it's just they're trying to recreate it. Like it's just
the
like
long
they're
night
trying their best, yeah, just to be like, all right, let's try to make this again.
is our Helm's Deep. Yeah.
And I mean this, like I guess the stakes are just I don't know. They're kind of equivalent. Like it is like the long night is the whole world's about to die, and so I guess the stakes are kind of equivalent.
The stakes
But,
are the
like-
same. You just have different, histories with them. Like it's a 7-season build up and some change, 70 hours of stuff and some change building up to that versus 3.5 or 5 hours leading up to this. But no, you're right. The stakes are similar, and like there's even shots where I was like, yeah, there's no other way to do that. Like you were just ripping this. Whenever they're like panning down the line, the front line, and they get to, Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli's head's like peeking over the wall barely. You can't even really see him. This, I will say, this is probably the funniest between the two. This one had me fucking cracking up at points. Yeah, no, I mean, I still loved it a great deal.
Yeah, I think the comedy, at least this time for me, came from Legolas and Gimli. Like just their pair.
Yeah.
I think they paired so well. And I said last time in Fellowship that like Legolas was cool, but like it kind of felt that he was just kind of there. Like he's just cool and his bow's always there. He's down to ride. But I feel like this movie, he had the comedic relief, but also that like really tense scene with Aragorn kind of, speaking Elvish in front of everybody, which is, oh my God, like how, just to think of like everyone in the room is like, oh my God, they're speaking like this Elvish. I don't know. Is Elvish like, are they just other people that live in the world, or do they kind of see elves and like Elvish as like God, not like godlike, but like,
no,
is it
they are, it's my understanding they just kind of are. Now, I don't think they interact very much. Like there's no reason for anybody here to know Elvish. The way that I look at Elvish is kind of like Latin. Like we could speak Latin. We have the ability to speak Latin, but we do not speak Latin. Like that's just something we don't go to the effort to learn because we never meet anybody where it would be important for us to know Latin. And I think that's kind of how they treat the elves and Elvish is that like, it's not their language. And I think that part of that is like Aragorn was in part raised by, Elrond, which the movies don't really jump into, Hugo Weaving's character. He like helped raise him. Yeah. I mean, he grew up with them. He grew up in Rivendell. That was part of his like, to go back to Game of Thrones when Ned Stark stays at the Eyrie and he grows up under John Aaron, and he grows up next to Robert Baratheon and Littlefinger down the road. Like that's similar to what Aragorn did with Rivendell, at least to my understanding. But so like his history with Arwen is a very, very long one. And his history with Elrond, like Elrond kind of treats him like a son. And knowing it in that context makes this movie a little bit different whenever he's talking to him about how he needs to convince Arwen to, leave. She's staying for you, and, like, I need you to convince her otherwise. Like that. There's a lot of really, really interesting dynamics that, frankly, I wonder if the extended editions expand upon more.
Yeah.
Because that was something that I wanted a little more out of this movie that I didn't quite get. We got enough of it. Aragorn's my favorite character of this one. He's coming into his own. He's stepping up. That's the king right there. And next week we're gonna get the return of that man. But
I'm so ready. Yeah, this dude. I feel like I put Legolas and Gimli as like just so I'd mention them. I think they were a really cool dynamic. Like they really got a big boost this movie for me. But like it's Aragorn. I don't know. For the movie. It's just, but.
So that's why I'm like, I still got more than enough of what I needed, but there was just a little bit more that I wanted from some spots, if that makes sense. So like, I can't really complain, but I can point out these things that I would have appreciated a little bit more expansion on. And mainly, I'm a sucker for romance, and it's clear that romance was not the priority for these movies because I appreciate what they do with Eowyn, the woman. Like the actual woman that he meets and kind of has a little bit of a flirtatious relationship with and provides him that opportunity. Can he leave Arwen behind comfortably to live her elvish life since he has a woman who he doesn't need to, feel like he's taking advantage of and feel like he's, but it's very clear that while he might feel something there, she's not Arwen.
Yep. Yeah, that I guess that's like the romance part was there to prove that point. It was just like anytime romance popped up, like he just thought, well, there's only one I can really think of.
I'm into Arwen. Yeah.
And it, I feel like this Eowyn, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. She was pretty cool. Like she was not.
I loved
like
Eowyn.
a character like for the whole movie, but every time she popped up, she's the one that's like, like kind of the Arya. Like I don't want to be the woman who just stays inside and is in the house all day. No, I want to fight. I don't want to. My biggest fear is like a cage or something.
Yeah,
like
that was hard.
Like
that was hard.
And like, yeah, it was really like her story was really cool, and I feel like that's just another part of like Rohan that I kind of want expanded. There's a lot of really cool just Game of Thrones like or just politicky kind of implication on the mystical like
and the aspects between like the relationship between men, like Rohan and Gondor don't have a good relationship, and and furthermore, another thing that these movies don't really jump into is the hierarchy of the army of Isengard and Mordor and how they have kind of a rivalry. Because they both feel like they're more important than the other, but they're not. Like it's just, like there's a lot of infighting that goes on that they don't really dive into in these movies. We just don't have time to do it, which isn't a bad thing. I feel like we do more than enough, but I think it's interesting to add some context in that regard. I want to go back to Gimli and Legolas because their relationship, you were right, the way it gets expanded is really, really nice, especially considering that the dwarves and elves have like a rivalry. They're like, and that's something they dove into a little bit in the first movie. Like, Gimli's like, if I swear to God, if an elf has to fucking, he's like these goddamn elves all the time, and then in this movie, there's that moment whenever, the people of Rohan, I believe it's Carl Urban's character, Éomer, pulls up and they like surround them, and he puts his sword to Gimli's throat, and he's like, I could have your head, dwarf, but I think it would, it wouldn't even have time to hit the ground. And Legolas like draws his bow and points it at him. He's like, "You wouldn't have time to fucking swing, motherfucker." You know, like I was like, "Okay, okay, Legolas."
Yeah. Oh, there's something also about a point blank drawn bow that is just like I'd rather have a gun pointed at my head rather than a bow like that. I don't know. That just seems a little more menacing. But yeah, Legolas and Gimli, I feel like provided most of the comedic value, to the movie. But I mean, you did like Carl Urban had a little bit there, I guess. I'm trying to. There were some. I don't know. I feel like there was one other thing that was like surprisingly funny to me. I don't think it was supposed. I don't know. I think it was just like situational, like things that just can only happen in Lord of the Rings. In some of them were like funny, and some of them were just like, oh my god, like this feels so cool. Just like there's this world that is built is just so incredible, and I'm so down with it. But then if this, I don't know, the battle being an hour, I didn't know that. I didn't like check the time and like to see like how far into the movie it was when it started. But like yeah, it felt like, oh my god, like this battle is just the most epic sequence I've ever seen. Like it's in the rain, the slow just crawl, like I don't know, the armies are there. My favorite kind of part of it, like the build up, was like going into the castle or into the keep where all the women and children were, and they just like hearing those marches, like the marching of the orcs like coming towards them is just, I don't know, I feel like in Game of Thrones, like in an army approaching, I don't know, have we ever heard like the actual stomps like physically, I don't know, in like while
Yeah, I mean, like Thrones does it differently. You hear like the snarls and the growls of the army of the dead when you're with them. You know, you hear the, you don't really hear the encroaching footsteps.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's interesting. I guess I'm like, for some reason, I'm comparing this battle more to like Blackwater or like just the human battles of Thrones instead of the Long Night. In the Long Night is easily the more analogous one. I feel like it is the orcs and the dead, but I don't know. It felt like this, even though it was orcs versus the humans. I mean, I don't know why it had this just still very like it was just a siege of a castle. I know they're defending their home, and it was just I don't know, against all odds. And I don't know, maybe it was just the insides, like the women and children being on the inside and just holding down there. But no, that still happens.
That is pretty similar to Blackwater. You know, the Cersei being in the throne room with Tommen and stuff. Like, yeah, I see where you're coming from there. Yeah, and I think that like one of the important details is that it's one keep, like it is one castle. When it came to the Blackwater, it was the entire city. It was King's Landing that was getting attacked, so there is something a little bit bigger about that. As far as like why you wouldn't hear footsteps approaching and why you wouldn't hear like the marches oncoming. All you hear is the horn explosions and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I guess maybe it's the ladders too. Like in Blackwater, just the ladders go up and everyone's starting to climb. You get the just throwing rocks down to hit them off or throw. In like just the amount of like cool, I don't know, just epic things to see in a battle. Like Aragorn is just so easily it's clear that is just that dude in the next movie.
Yeah, I'd follow him into battle.
But like the he's so confident in like the elves' archery, that he's like standing in front of all of them after the wall's been exploded and like the orcs are all running in, and he's just like fire, whatever. And he's just standing. They're
firing right past his head. Yeah, like he's cold, man. And there's just like an understanding. One of my favorite lines of the movie that kind of represents how they all, to defeat this evil, they all need to come together. Like all of them, all men, all elves, all dwarves, all hobbitses, all of them, all the good stuff, is whenever Boromir's brother at the end, after Samwise's speech, looks at Frodo and goes, "I think we finally understand each other, Mr. Frodo Baggins." I just love that moment whenever he realizes what is at stake and what is important. And and it's just kind of like, again, I know I keep coming back to Game of Thrones, but it's one of those things that you just kind of wish everybody would have fucking realized in that, like, yeah, there's an army of dead people marching south, and you are going to die if you do not fight them, like that's,
Yeah, in Thrones you still had, the human petty problems were still winning, and it was just annoying. Like it was like fuck, But I don't know, that's kind of just different world here. But this, it like what are the trees. I feel like I always want to call them an Enute, but it's just an Ents. Yeah, there it is, the Ents. That was like, I don't know, I felt like at first that it was kind of like, oh, this is just kind of cool little side, C story, or maybe, even D story at this point.
Yeah,
like,
it's down there.
But then I don't know, it came around at the end, and I thought it was just a really cool breath of, I don't know, whenever you needed a break, it was really cool to have these tree herders. I don't know. I was just thinking of like the history of these things as like, I don't know, that they're just being carried through the forest, and just stories are being told, or just I don't know, just all these things, and then the meeting they have, and they're like,
yeah,
we only say things if it's worth saying for a long, long time. And
their Entish is they call him Treebeard, but his name, like, it would take you minutes to pronounce his name. Like that's their thing, is that their language is just extremely, like, every word is fucking huge in Entish. So like we only say things if it's worth saying for a long time. Yeah, I love Meriadoc and Pippin there. That is definitely one of the best moments of this movie, is whenever, Merry gets Pippin to lock in. Pippin's kind of like, all right, maybe we just go back to the Shire, and he's like, aren't you paying attention? There's not going to be a Shire to go back to. And then he locks in, and he gets, he manipulates Treebeard a little bit. He's like, oh, let's march south. Yeah. See your dead brothers. Let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the point was still there. It's like, nah, you guys can't stand idly by. You will be all gone. You
cannot be the middle.
And man, just like they're all just different types of trees. Like, I don't know, it was like ash, cedar, I don't know,
chestnut.
Just like that. And like it's just so cool. And I want this to be real so bad. Like in the real world, there's just one mega tree for each type, and like they come alive every who knows how long, have a council, and they're like, humans are still being fucking humans. We don't need to interact yet. All right, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
But no, this time they were, I guess, English. They do understand English. They were understanding what they were told. So maybe this after this meeting they just start speaking English to each other, so they don't have to spend. Or is
Might
it
be a
they
little
want
ritualistic?
To spend?
Yeah,
is
I think it's more ritualistic.
Yeah.
Like we only say things to each other if it's worth saying. We don't talk very much, but if we do, it's going to be like this. I think it's more a principle thing, which is kind of cool. It's just kind of inconvenient. But. And I appreciate the anti-industrialist angle that this movie has, where Christopher Lee represents like a, money-grubbing evil CEO, and it's all, iron and industry. Yes, like we're burning down the forest to build our terrible, terrible machine, and all that good stuff. It's I really, really, especially around this time. When it was going into production, obviously the movies came out in 2001, 2002, 2003. But like Al Gore ran for president in 2000 against George Bush, and he, like, one of his main platforms was climate change, and how, the consciousness had never been, for the first time, was more on that than ever. So I think it's cool that they fold that in any meaningful regard. Another timely thing that just kind of had to suck, this coming out in 2002, a movie called The Two Towers. Rough break. That's the name of the book. That's the name of the book.
You just kind of have to stick with it, and it's just rough. There. I didn't know if the books were actually the same. But,
the titles of the movies are the titles of the books.
Yeah, that's just rough. Yeah, not good timing there. I mean, just I feel like, sadly, in a way, did it help the marketing? Maybe what were there some people that just had no idea and they're like, oh, is this I don't know, some feel good movie about, I don't know, turn it around, turn the attack around or something? Probably not. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
No. I mean,
but
it was marketed as Lord of the Rings,
that's
but
true. Everyone knows. Yeah, after the first, I mean, how like after the first movie, how big of a? I guess I don't know. I was never in the swing of it. I mean, I was 1 years old,
yeah, I
so I
was
guess
very
that'd be
young.
why. But like, what did it take over? Like, what were everyone just like, holy shit! Like, this is like a new Star Wars or like, um,
I mean, this movie made $938 million
okay,
worldwide in 2002.
okay, wow, okay, yeah. So pretty damn good. Over a
Pretty
billion
successful.
in
Yeah,
today.
Billy modernly. Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. Let's see. I'm trying to see if what the Fellowship did. Um, Fellowship. Yeah, it went up. It was 888 million for
Okay.
Fellowship, and Return of the King. I bet Return of the King's $1 billion movie.
I bet
Then,
it goes more.
if
Yeah,
I
just
had to
keep going
guess,
up. Yeah. I
let's
mean,
see.
damn.
I'm gonna
But
find out momentarily.
I wonder, is 2001 eight
Yep.
hundred million? Is that a billion, now? Is that
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like,
for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I think we've done enough.
it's been that bad.
Mhm.
1.13 billion
Damn.
for Return of the King in 2003. Um,
All right, now I have to know.
yeah,
Uh
inflation calculator shit.
yep. So in 2003, 1.72, like a $1 in 2003 is 1.72. You said it was 1 point what billion?
1.13.
1.3 would be a solid 1.94. So almost $2 billion
God
today.
damn.
Yeah, so holy shit. Yeah, it did
Pretty
take over the world
successful. Pretty
a little bit.
successful.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, I mean, I feel like we haven't even mentioned Gollum yet, which is just like, some of the shots with him, I was just like like he was rolling around in water, in like I don't know, the water was just fucking splashing around him like it would if he was rolling there, and I have no fucking clue how they did it. In some
Gollum
of
is really, really impressive.
I just don't get it for 2000. Like, what have we done? Like, why, how have we regressed? I don't know. Like, it doesn't, like, if this is 2002, you would think today, I don't know, we'd have this on lock. And I feel like Avatar is kind of the only just shining, gleaming example of like, yeah,
Yeah.
we fucking got it on lock. But that's because they have to do it for the whole movie. And I don't know, like CG characters, I feel like he doesn't, like, I feel like he could be fit into the scene like a whenever you fix the lighting, there's a word for that, compositing. Maybe his
Yeah,
compositing
composited.
could be a little bit better.
There are moments,
Mm-hmm,
where I can tell Frodo and Sam aren't looking at anything. You know
mm-hmm,
what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
but even so, when it is just Gollum on screen, it does
mm,
look pretty good.
man,
Like,
and
I would say this is definitely one of the better CG characters that exists. Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean,
mm-hmm,
Thanos in
yeah,
Infinity War and
yeah,
Endgame. Like, that's some crazy.
Thanos
That's
is
crazy shit. And
nice.
then obviously Avatar. Yeah, like everything the Avatar movies do, it's just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess
that's
we can
real.
just
That's
run through
there.
Andy Serkis as well. I guess you have,
Yeah,
him, Planet
Caesar,
of the Apes. Yeah,
Planet of the
Caesar,
Apes. Yeah,
Kong.
King Kong, Peter Jackson's King
Mm-hmm.
Kong. Yeah,
Is
for
there? I
sure.
feel like there's one more that he did that I'm forgetting for some
Snoke.
reason. Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. And yeah, Snoke's pretty damn, like, that's,
Snoke's incredible. Snoke
yeah,
might be the best CG
that's,
character. Like, you kind of forget he's CG and not just a fucked up guy who looks like that.
yeah, that, wow.
Um,
I mean, Andy Serkis, goddamn. I mean, it's the conversation is like, did he deserve an Oscar for, like, everyone is like, yes, like he should have gotten an Oscar for this, and he, like, has he never gotten anything, like, not even an honorary, like,
yeah, I don't
today
think
or
so. I
nothing,
don't think
like, yeah, I
so.
guess he can't
He
really.
will eventually get something like that.
Oh my God. Yeah. I
But
mean, kind of just the pioneer. Like, I mean, can you really point to one other actor who's done like as much for CG
yeah,
motion capture? Like, I'd say like Avatar, just the movies in general, like
yeah,
did a
James
whole,
Cameron
yeah,
has, but no
yeah, but
actor
hmm
specifically.
yeah,
Um,
and I mean, it's just the I don't know, and that we've just talked about the looks of him so far, but then like just the actual.
Yeah, he's my performance.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I feel like it is it just the. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I wanted to spread the love, maybe, but I think it is. This is just
I
the
mean, there's a
answer.
lot of good performances in this movie. He just really, really
Mm.
shines. Like the fact that I'm watching this little fucked up creature, and every once in a while I'm going, "Yeah, that's Andy Serkis." Like
Mm-hmm.
that's really, really cool. That like I've just come to know him well enough
Mm-hmm.
as an actor that there are certain things Gollum's face does, and there's certain things certain ways he throws his voice. Whenever I'm like, "Yeah, that is an
Mm.
actor in there." Like that's it's crazy shit, man. I love the back and forth between Smeagol and
Oh.
Gollum.
Mm-hmm.
Master helps us. He's good. He's good. No, he's not. He's evil. He lied to us. Like that whole thing. It's so good. And the one scene whenever you get like an actual conversation the first time between them,
Mm-hmm.
where they like visually show them talking to each other while it's
Mm-hmm.
just one little Gollum sitting there. I love that scene. I
Yeah.
love that scene.
I had no idea Smeagol. Like I was just I only knew him as Gollum. I'm like he's just a fucked up
Uh-huh.
little creature dude. But man, no, giving him this depth of kind of like Frodo, how does he know his name's Smeagol? Is it through the ring or like did I miss in the first movie? Did um like I guess I like he just kind of like because Frodo's the one who reminds him of his name, and I don't know maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing on when that was how he came to know that. Um.
I think he implies Gandalf told him. I think he says Gandalf told
Oh.
me your story is a sad one.
Oh. Okay, that's right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I do think there's something to the idea that the ring is informing him a little bit. I mean, there's obviously a human element, not human, but humane element as to why he wants to protect Gollum. He
Mm-hmm.
wants, like, I mean, selfishly, you want to think you can come back from that.
Yeah.
If I'm committing to this quest,
Mm-hmm.
I might become like that. I need to know that I can come out the other side.
Yeah. And
But I do wonder if there is an element where it's like he's possessed the ring, like there's something about him that I'm drawn to a little bit. I think that
mm-hmm.
there might be something there.
Yeah, because Frodo is like we're at least whenever oh what's his name the brother of Boromir the
Yeah,
new I think I took his yeah Faramir is yeah
Faramir, yes.
Faramir is like he captured they're captured and then they're looking for Gollum and then they end up finding him and they have all the bows drawn and they're about to kill him and Frodo's like no like I am bound to this creature like this
Right.
we are bound we are together and it feels like he says like you were like you were something close to a hobbit at one point weren't you
Mm-hmm.
and is that like I don't know if that's a future story element or I don't know if it is like confirmed later, but like it feels like very natural that like he like Gollum is just the further down the line. Oh Pippin? No, what's his name?
I
The
mean,
old
Pippin is one of them.
no, not Pippin. The old guy in Fellowship who had the guy who had the ring
Oh,
first.
Bilbo.
Bilbo, there it is. Yeah, kind of. Gollum is just the next evolution of Bilbo if he
Yeah,
just
I mean,
held
there's a
on to the
moment
ring.
whenever Bilbo looks at Frodo when they're at Rivendell, and he's like,
Mm.
"Can I just hold the ring one last time?"
Mm-hmm.
And he like flashes a face at him, and it's like Gollum's face. His eyes like pop out, and
Yeah,
his teeth
man.
sharpen and stuff. And there are moments whenever like I think some of the CG compositing is Frodo's eyes. At least it feels like it. There are shots of Frodo where I feel like he looks like
Mm.
Gollum. Um,
Okay, yeah, I could. Yeah, the blue. I don't know. I just those piercing blue eyes. Why do they give
mhm.
Gollum those blue eyes as well? That. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't recognize that, but I feel like that's like just this perfect. It's Frodo, Sam, and Gollum. Gollum's just their guide, and they don't really want him there, kind of. But like he knows the way to Mordor, so
Yeah.
like we have to kind of stick with him, and he's bound to us. But then like Sam being like he's always like he just kind of wants to fucking kill Gollum. I feel like he like at
Yeah.
every chance he gets, he's like, you know what? No, this guy kind of deserves to
Fuck
die.
this guy.
and we got to get rid of him. But Frodo being the one that's like, no, like, dude, this is like kind of me, like this is like what I'll become maybe, and like what I feel like I don't, if I kill Gollum, then like I'm saying that I'm kind of killing myself too at the end of, like,
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't deserve to live at the end of this
Right.
sort of thing. And it was just really cool to kind of balance that back and forth just throughout the whole movie. And Frodo, like, I guess the one part of Frodo's story that I don't quite get is the moment where the wraith on the fuck, whatever the fuck creature that is, badass, by the way, holy shit, that reveal whenever it's just like you think they're riding on a horse, and then it just slowly zooms out and it's like, nope, dragon wraith, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But whenever Frodo, he's about, like, I feel like he's sacrificing himself, like he's about to put the ring on and the wraith is flying towards him, and
Yeah.
like in but like he, even if he puts the ring on there, like the wraith still gets him, and like it, like, I guess I'm confused as to, like, wouldn't the ring just fall back into the hands of the wraith and then go
Of Sauron.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that there's one of the important details about the ring is that the ring wants to be with Sauron.
Oh.
They mentioned that in the first movie as well. Gandalf says, like, the ring is working to get back to him. That is what it does not want to be destroyed. Like it wants to, it likes the ring wraiths. It's why they communicate. It's why they sing together. It's why they, So in that moment, Sam is preventing the ring from winning. It's not Frodo in control sacrificing himself. It's the ring sacrificing Frodo.
Okay. That makes a whole lot more sense. And that, like, because I liked, like, Sam being the one to pull him back. He's like, no, like,
Yeah.
it's okay, like, no, and just kind of grounding him again, and then just seeing Frodo, like, like, just being like, holy shit, he drew a sword.
Yeah. Well, and there's a
on
moment.
Sam, but.
No, for real. And there's Sam gets it explained to him when they're in that cell of the Gondor men, Faramir and all of them. Sam's like, just slip out of here, put the ring on and go. And he's like, Frodo's like, nah, I don't think I can. I think if I put this ring on, he'll find us, and that's that. And then Sam realizes how important it is that he doesn't put that fucking ring on.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think it's just I think that's more the ring taking over, and there's that moment whenever he's like, you were right, like it is taking over. It's a problem, and I need to fucking solve it. Mine.
Man, and like the fact that like they're captured by everyone just feels like getting captured by different people throughout the movie, but whenever, like, they can't just expressly be like, yeah, no, we have the ring of power and we're going to Mordor to destroy it. You can't obviously just let people know you got the ring around your neck. But eventually, like, whenever, like, the truth is just kind of out, and Sam tells, I always forget it, Faramir. Sam's just like, don't you get it now? Like, don't you fucking understand? We have to destroy this thing. Like, it is simply evil. And he falls.
Yeah, when it gets put in the simplest terms, he's like, don't you want to know what happened to your brother? Your brother tried to take the fucking ring and it got him killed. Like, it poisoned his mind and he died. Like, that's, it's one of those, just wake up calls that Faramir really, really needed, and then ultimately him appealing to the good is what won Faramir over, which is really, really cool. I do love that, but that's one thing that I think that the movies do better than the books is humanizing the people of Gondor. They have a lot more nuance. Like, Boromir is not likable in the book; he's not a likable character. But I loved Boromir in the first movie. Like, that's a great character. He defines everything that makes us human. And in the book, he does that too, but it's negative. It's an overwhelmingly negative sentiment, not a ultimately positive one. Which is a tough line to toe. Yeah, no, there's a lot that I really appreciate adaptation wise. I do enjoy Gandalf's reemergence.
Oh.
That's nice.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The opening of the movie. Holy, this dude! I just thought they both just fell to their death. Like, I don't know. Like,
they're fighting the whole fucking way down, baby.
Oh my god, yeah. Gandalf just is I mean, did he
And then
know
they
this?
reveal that he battled him back to the
Yeah.
top of the
Oh,
fucking mountain.
oh, yeah, just all the way down, all the way up, and then finally defeats him, and then is like, "Oh fuck, I'm so goddamn tired. I just gotta lay down on the top of this mountain,
Bro
take a
literally
rest."
dies.
Dies, reborn, lived a lifetime, I guess, through whatever in space, and then is just boom. I am reborn and I guess I didn't. Was this in the first movie kind of that like Saruman is this like light entity kind of like I guess I thought that Saruman was just um um what I guess Saruman like a I don't know, just what the fuck. How do I call him a different name? Like I don't know. Like I didn't know that he was kind of like this like overpower kind of like what's the evil entity? Sauron. Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
Sauron and Saruman, and that's just they're kind of just the light and dark. Is that the idea? And then like they have like avatars at the time and like because Christopher Lee, I guess like he was Saruman before or like kind of was the avatar of like is that kind of how it works like an avatar situation or like is
No, Saruman is Saruman. He's not actually being controlled by Sauron or anything like that. He's just doing his bidding. He's sworn himself to him because he believes that that's the side that's going to win, essentially. Um,
oh
like Gandalf now has the same power as Saruman.
mm-hmm.
Like he's reached that level. Saruman's overwhelmingly powerful, which is really the only reason. Like if Saruman wasn't on Sauron's side, stuff would be a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. 'Cause I guess
So like,
I guess what confused me is that when Gandalf came back and like, you know, Aragorn's sword was on, he made him drop it and deflected everything. He was like, "Yo, I'm fucking
yeah,
back," and like it sounded like Christopher Lee at first. You were thinking it's Christopher Lee, at first, and then it's Gandalf like, "Yo, what's up?" But I like, doesn't he say like, "I am Saruman," and then he's like, "Oh yes, Gandalf, that's right. Like that's what they used to call me before." Um, I
no, he does not. He does not say that he's Saruman. No.
I feel like he calls himself a different name though. Like I don't know. Maybe I did just hear it wrong, but like I swear like that I don't know. It just that's why I'm like, wait a minute. Like wait, what's Saruman is like maybe it's just a different name or that's close to Saruman because there's Saruman, Sauron. I feel like there's just
Yeah,
kind of
there's a lot there,
um
but yeah, no. All I remember is whenever he goes, Gandalf the Grey. That's what they used to call me. I'm Gandalf the White. Um, but
mhm.
yeah,
Man, yeah, what
I
am I
don't know.
remembering?
You're absolutely right about them messing with the voice filter and stuff, though, because it does sound like Christopher Lee. But I do think that was, in the context of a fantasy world, that does take on some heavy connotations. But I do think that's more a cinematic trick than it is a in-universe possession. I think it's more trying to get you to think that they're talking to Christopher Lee and then ultimately revealing they're talking to Ian McKellen.
Mhm.
Um, I think. Now this is a part of the book that I do not really recall as far as the intricacies of the wizardry world.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I guess I'm pulling up like the scene right now, and he's saying like, yeah, he is reborn through fire, through water. He's explaining, he how he defeated the Balrog and stuff. I don't, yeah, I feel like I don't know, I don't know why he said he was reborn as someone. I feel like yeah, I don't know, he's going through the galaxy right now.
mm-hmm.
Let's see. I feel like if I skip forward, I'll miss it. Yeah,
No,
okay.
you're all good.
And then it was not the end. I felt life in me again. He takes a breath. He's reborn. I've been sent back until my task is done. Yeah, maybe. Okay, and then yeah, Aragorn calls him Gandalf. He's like Gandalf. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So and then he does just say, "Yeah, I'm Gandalf the White." Okay. So I don't know what the heck I was inputting in there, or some different scene. Yeah, he just Gandalf the Gray. Yeah, straight to Gandalf the White. Yeah, no mention of Sauron or anything there. So, huh? Um, I guess that clears up my confusion though. I thought that like there was this kind of light entity that kind of mirrored Sauron, and kind of
Mm. Well, there
whoever.
seems to be an implication that there is, given, I was sent back and all that good
Mm,
stuff,
mm-hmm.
like he didn't find his way back. He got put back,
Hmm.
which is important. Uh, he's not just powerful enough
Mm-hmm.
to go, don't feel like dying. Never mind.
That's
Like there
true.
is something that is directing the way there, and I am interested by the elves, specifically Galadriel. Um, Her abilities are
Mm.
beyond
Yeah.
others, right? Like she's
Yeah.
speaking to Elrond from miles away, explaining that
Mm-hmm.
what is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like she can see what's going to happen. I don't know. There's some pretty cool stuff with the elves there, and she's the
Ooh.
one who motivates Elrond essentially to go fight at Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Um,
Though she like refused the ring, and I want like she did say like, oh, I passed the test, like I did it. I
yeah,
wonder,
like I'm
did
beyond
she,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
did she have those abilities before, or was it simply denying the ring and being like, no, I don't fucking need that, that kind of unlocked another thing in her? But I feel like in the first movie, is she the one who's narrating the opening and kind of
Yes.
everything? Yeah,
Yeah.
she does feel just kind of all knowing a little bit, or just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like the, I don't know. She will just tell people the future, like she just knows it as her own. But it's only during, I don't know, very specific times, or at the, in the first movie when it is narration, I guess. But no, yeah, I wonder. Um, I,
This is a cool little detail that makes me a little bit more excited to revisit the Rings of Power. The main chick in Rings of Power is Galadriel. Um,
oh,
yeah, she's the
whoa.
main character in Rings of Power. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I only have the two episodes under my belt, but of what I remember, I mean, she was
yeah,
pretty
the names wouldn't mean
badass.
anything to you at that
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
no,
like it's
no.
just yeah,
Yeah, I had no clue at all. They were
yeah.
just
I'm like the elves are in that. Elrond's in that.
uh-huh.
She's
Oh,
in that.
okay. Man, okay. Yeah, I know for a fact. I mean, I think I'm going to go through the extended versions first before I visit the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess I don't know if I'm diving into the Hobbit movies as well. I guess they're not up to the same standards, but I feel like I watched those before I watched the show as well. But no,
Right.
I'm all in to this world now. Like it's just such a different kind of fantasy that I haven't quite gotten into. Like it's a lot of mashups of things. Like it's Game of Thrones plus some. I feel like there's just
Mm.
so many like different factions of people. There's so many cool parts of the world, like literal landscape of the world, like
Right.
the Ents forest, like, or I feel like there was a specific name for it that like no
Yeah,
one
that it was
goes
a
in.
different part of the forest. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just scary. It's like, no, you don't go in there, or you won't come back out. And just
Right.
there's so much world building, and that I feel like it's unmatched. At least Star Wars I feel like is still the closest one to me. Like I'm still getting Star Wars to this day, and I am not tired of it, and I feel like um, Star Wars just has a lot more content than Lord of the Rings does.
Right.
And I don't know. I guess Lord of the Rings, the cinematic franchise itself is newer, a lot younger than Star Wars is. Star Wars has had a lot more time to cook, and I wonder if just this is just going to keep going. Like if we eventually will kind of reach the point where Star Wars is, but in Lord of the Rings world, if they're going to continue to make all of these TV shows and movies, and they were impressive at first, I guess, but then now people aren't really liking them. I can't really speak to
Right.
how true, or why people are hating things. If it is actually bad for the show, or I don't know. But it seems that it's kind of following the same pattern, that Star Wars is a little bit, of just
Mm.
kind of continuing the IP, and it just kind of degrading over time a little bit, I guess. But like there's no sequel books, are there? Like
No.
that
Yeah.
keep
No.
going. It is just the end, and that, so like if they wanted to make sequel movies, it would be completely brand new. Like it wouldn't.
Yeah,
There's
that
no
would be
source.
the
Yeah.
fresh territory that so it is it there's also something that Star Wars took a big swing, and while I love the movies, generally if I could go back and kind of start a fresher direction, I don't know that I would have had the galaxy immediately fall back into the hands of a identical fascist organization. And like there are some things that I'm like, okay, well that was just like you were clearly mining nostalgia here. Like there's no other reason to be doing this beyond mining nostalgia. So when it comes to the end of these movies, which I won't get into, if I don't know. Like there is a certain bittersweetness to like, oh yeah, we're continuing the story, but your hero's hard work was undone. Like that's that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, I guess you kind of
Like there's
you
something
need the
there's something in
conflict.
the new I can't remember which movie it is, but there's like in one of the Marvel movies coming up or Marvel shows, I don't remember which it is, but there's like Stark Industry missiles that have like anti-gravity tech or something. And it's like Tony Stark just died, like and he wanted his company to stop making weapons. What the fuck's going on here? Like there's a little bit of a what are we doing? I don't know. But Lord of the Rings for me has not really reached that point by any stretch. Rings of Power, by all accounts, seems to be a pretty solid show that gets hated for its inclusion and centering of women and people of color. Which, similar to The Acolyte. We're like, obviously, I have my issues with The Acolyte as a TV show. I don't think it was perfect by any stretch, but I think the hate was obviously stilted. There's no doubt about it. It was stilted in one direction against women and people of color. And queer people. But, yeah, no, it's, I think that Lord of the Rings is still in a pretty safe space, and I think that I think it's just much more complicated to try to do anything with that world, like
it's got to really fit the world, I guess, like because there have been just so much world building, like it's kind of a trap that I don't like with Star Wars of people saying like, no, it needs to fit continuity 100%, like it needs to fit the history, blah 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 blah. We have to get everything right, and it's important to some degree, but like if your ultimate goal is just to tell a new story and to go new places, I don't know, like it should be important, but it shouldn't be the primary focus.
no,
But I feel like in a movie like this, it's or in this world, it's I don't know, it feels like it's heightened to a new degree. Like you need to focus on like the world is just so important to the story itself that like it kind of needs that history, or you kind of the continuity is the story. It feels like here, and because I don't know, it isn't just man versus evil or good versus evil. It's like the world, like in every superhero movie, the world's about to end. Like this
yeah,
will be the end of everybody, of every human, and it'll be I don't know, and so you have the galaxy, in the Marvel movie. It's like the whole multiverse is about to go, but no, it's just Middle Earth. But it's I don't know, it's beautiful. Like it's the whole world. It's every character. They're all just melded together in just a way that I don't know. No franchise other than really Star Wars has really felt like it to me at all. So yeah, it's crazy how I mean I'm 2 out of 3 for these, and yeah, I will say it. I'm the high off Fellowship, and me saying it's gonna be the 3 blazing horses. I feel like I'm still I don't know. I feel like it is still up there in that caliber, but I didn't feel the same all encompassing kind of emotions
yeah, the
that
zeal.
Fellowship had.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that part of that is that it got off to such a hot start that like what you're expecting is to feel the way Fellowship made you feel. Which is an unreasonable precedent to set for any movie. That movie fucking rules.
Yeah.
So like we were hoping like There was part of me that was hoping I wouldn't like it as much as Fellowship,
Mm-hmm.
which is odd. And I was satisfied in that conclusion. I was like, yeah, I don't like this as much as Fellowship, but I do think it is. I think it's still a damn good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is a damn good movie, and I enjoy it a great deal. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the battle focus, it's really fucking cool, but I think it does prevent us from diving into some of the intricacies that Fellowship
Mm.
allowed us to. I think this movie blazes by faster than Fellowship does, which is impressive
Mm-hmm.
because Fellowship already feels like a fast movie. Um, but you said something last week where it's like it's impressive that so little can happen while so much time passes. Like it's all really intimate. There's even less that
Yeah.
happens in this movie. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, we end the first one with Sam and Frodo on the way to Mordor to destroy the ring.
We end
Kind
this
of a,
one.
I guess now they plus Gollum, that's
Yeah.
kind of the only change there. Um and yeah, I guess for the other part of the crew, they got some character development, they had some um a lot of times where they thought people were dead, not
Yeah.
which is I don't know, it's
Yeah.
always
Aragorn was briefly dead.
yeah. I feel. Oh, and Pip or no, not Mary and Pippin.
Pip.
Yeah, Mary and
Yeah.
Pippin. They were thought to be dead for a little bit. Burnt. They found their
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
belt, and they're like, no. And then fucking holy shit, Aragorn just master
Yeah, his
tracker.
tracking
This
abilities.
dude is
Yeah,
like,
he's
oh.
Hunter.
He's like, oh, they rolled from here to here. Then they walked this. The bounds were cut, and he's like, the dude is just a master detective. I don't know. He's
Yeah,
fucking.
it's
Oh my
another
god.
Star Wars influence there. Hunter is
Oh
just has
my
Aragorn's
God,
abilities.
you're shitting
Um,
me. You're
yeah,
shitting me, dude. Yeah, it's everywhere. Every time
yeah.
I'm gonna watch Star Wars now, it's gonna be the only thing I can think of. But man, yeah, Aragorn, oh, I don't know. He's just, I knew, I
He's
guess
that dude.
this I knew a lot coming into this as like the more of like the behind the scenes or like just meme culture of this. Like I knew when he kicked the helmet that he
Yeah,
broke his toe and that like the
yeah.
scream was real and it's just I don't know. It's like it's I feel like the way I know that is just like if you're watching a movie, if you're watching Lord of the Rings with someone who's never seen it before, it's like
You have to tell them that. Yeah,
99% chance that is going to be said during this point in the movie. And
right,
but I mean, I don't know. It goes to I think it still goes to show like the performance that he did give. Like I mean, the people are giving their all to these characters, and I feel like the reason they can is like the I don't know. I feel like this would be awesome as an actor. Like this is like the ultimate play. Like this the like thinking of just in middle school, like whenever we had to take theater, and I don't know. I feel like I was just kind of I never thought that I'm more math and science. And I'm like I don't really like this stuff, but it was so nice just to be able to like go into a character randomly. I don't know, and just to play up something and the more magical it felt, the more easier it's to dive in and I feel like all of this is just getting me to think is like why don't I play D&D? I go to the nerdiest school of all time. There's D&D everywhere around me that I go and like I've never quite gotten into it, but like these
right,
I don't know, it's through these movies that I'm just like I'm thinking of fantasy in a much different way. I never have really
right.
liked the magical or like the mage or the I don't know, like Borog just and wizards and stuff, I guess. But now I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's been instantly gratifying. It's just I don't know why I had this barrier of it
This is.
before, but yeah, it's
I'm reading
gone
some of
now.
the trivia now because you mentioned Viggo Mortensen breaking his toes, which obviously I was
Mm-hmm.
very familiar with as well. The battle at Helm's Deep was edited down from 20 hours of footage,
Oh,
shot over a 4-month period with the rain machine battering down on the cast.
20. There's a
A
20-hour cut.
4-month.
There's a there's a whole day's worth of movie here. We literally have a day
That's
cut
insane. I
of
wonder if
this
this is
movie.
longer in the extended edition, if the fight is actually longer in the extended edition. I
Oh
guess I didn't consider that.
my
Um,
God. Holy what? What did they cut out? What? Oh my. I mean, Is
I
it
mean, granted, 20 hours of footage could be like multiple takes. They
that's
shot
true.
20 hours worth of
Mm-hmm.
film, you know.
Okay, fair. Yeah, and how much of Helm's Deep is like is it all fake? Like is any part of the like do they build those castle walls? Like what I'm
No, yeah,
man,
it's pretty much
that's
all fake.
unbelievable. Like I mean
Like
it's just like there were I feel like when the wall blew up, it was like a miniature that they blew up, I feel like in
uh-huh.
all of the I don't know, that looked really very real and not CG there. And then but like every location, like I guess still, like I feel like a lot of just the when they're traveling on the run, you know, or like tracking the
Right.
army and stuff. Like I love just the running through the most beautiful landscapes. And this
Right.
is maybe somewhere on Earth actually, with a little bit of fantasy, you know, CGI in the background maybe on a couple, but some of them like are just legitimate Earth landscapes. I
And
feel
most
like.
of it's just New Zealand.
Really, it's man.
Yeah.
I have never anything I've heard of New Zealand has not like I only want to go to New Zealand more. The more I hear about it, it's just they have dark skies. They turn off all their lights at night so you can really see the sky. It's beautiful as
Mhm.
shit. It's like I feel like it's like Australia, but like a little bit just not infested with big ass spiders and
Not as
snakes and I don't
terrifying.
know. Yeah, it like it feels like it's just if I'm going to go down there, I'm going to New Zealand. And man, now
Right.
that I could see some of these locations, yeah, that's another big plus. Because man, I don't know, shooting on location, it's kind of it feels like we've lost it a little bit in movies because it's just a lot more practical to just go in a blue
Right.
room and add it in later, or you know the volume, you know it's used well sometimes, like in the Batman, for like certain scenes, you know the golden hour that you want, but I don't
Right.
know. You can't really beat shooting the real thing. And I mean, it's hard to pick a shot, I guess. But I mean, if I had to pick one, whenever Aragorn is back to life, coming on, you know, he's on his horse and he's still far away from Helm's Deep, but you can see it in the background. He's just like on top of this mountain, and like just
Yeah.
it was just I don't know him looking all kingly on his horse and just seeing Helm's Deep in the background, and I don't know, it just looked beautiful as shit. But man, I mean, there's quite a few to pick from in the entire movie. So I mean, I don't know. One, I feel like I just had to have Aragorn in there if I had to pick a favorite. But
Oh yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah, I loved him in this movie, man. And it is a gorgeous looking movie as well.
mm,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm
yeah,
satisfied. I'm satisfied. But
hmm
do we have much else to say on the Two Towers here?
that was the last favorite of mine was the shot. So yeah, I think I've done it all or said that all I can say. So.
All right. Beautiful. Then we will conclude this episode. I'll do the plugs and then we'll rate the episode, and that'll be
Mhm.
that. If you would, head to at Penny Bloom Dispatch on TikTok. I'm not doing as frequently. I'm not doing one a day anymore because that's a lot of work, but I am uploading multiple times a week. It's a lot of fun. You should definitely be over there. You should be over on Blue Sky. You can follow me at Colton Robertson. It's just the easiest place to be. We also have the Cinementalists over on Blue Sky. Just look it up as it is said there, and we got it all for you. Um, you can let's see, leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. That would be a huge help. I appreciate that greatly. And you can come on back next week when we'll be covering Return of the King, and that will
Mm.
be our last movie of the year. So very, very exciting because then we'll get into January where we'll be doing our first top 100 for the Cinementalists, and is the top 100 favorite movies of the 2020s so far. Halfway through the 2020s, we've got a lot of movies that we love, and we're going to talk about them. Top 100 coming out over the course of January in 10 parts. We're doing it 10 at a time. Very, very exciting. So yeah, come on back next week for Return of the King, and then in January for the top 100 of the 2020s. But let's rate this thing. How are you feeling?
Well, sadly not the 10. I didn't know if we were gonna go three for three tens. But I'm still up there.
I am too.
I think a 9 just kind of jumped out at me, but then it felt a little. I'm either like a 9 or a 9.25. I feel like the end
Gotcha.
really does make it up. But it I don't know. It's weird that I'm like saying that to get to the battle is kind of like I'm just waiting to get if I were to watch this movie again, I feel like I'm just waiting to get to the end a little bit now. But
Mm.
also at the same time, I want that first 2 hours or before the battle to be expanded more. I want to know
Right.
more of the information in there. So it's this really weird.
I think the extended edition of this is probably a 10. If I had to guess, not even knowing what that movie is,
Yeah.
I got to imagine that that's a damn good movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a damn good movie. I got to imagine that that gives me the feelings I'm looking for, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think with the battle, I think I was going 9 at first, but I think I'll give it that little bump for a 9.25 for me. Is where I'll land for this one. But
all right, I think I'm not far off there. I my gut took me 9.25 to 9.5, and I think I'll just even you out there. I'll go 9.25 as well. The speech by Sam Wise is one of my favorites in the whole thing. So like that just gives me a little bit of a boost there at the end of the movie. But can't rely entirely on that. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful looking movie. The score is still there. The performances are on 10. It's really well edited. It's really well put together. The Battle of Helm's Deep is really, really impressive.
kind of the gold
yeah,
standard,
no, it's a great.
I feel like for a
Yeah,
battle
it's a great
now.
one, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It feels wrong, but a 9.25 is still. I mean, it's. Yeah, I don't know. It feels weird now. I feel like I have some pause of like, is it really that much worse than Fellowship? Like almost a whole point down, but yeah, I feel like I'm never just going to watch The Two Towers on its own. I would have to have watched Fellowship first. Like is there ever a time where you're just gonna throw on Two Towers?
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. Then maybe the 9.25 is right. I think then. Yeah, maybe
justified.
Maybe
justified.
So, okay. I think I'm good then. I don't know. I had a little bit of pause, but because I don't know, I'm really enjoying these movies. So.
Oh, I am too. Yeah, I mean 9.25 is not a number to scoff at. That's also a really good movie. But yeah, no, I'm with it. 93% on the old Cinementalimeter.
Cinementalimeter. Oh, I
Cinementalimeter.
That was hard to say.
Cinementalimeter.
But I don't know why I went country there a little bit. Yeah, but Cinementalimeter.
The Cinementalimeter.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. 93%, and we are one movie closer to the end of 2024, baby. Next week, we have Return of the King. Christmas is also next week. I hope everybody has a happy, happy holiday. Stay safe out there in your travels and your comings and goings. If you're traveling long distances, maybe you throw on some previous episodes of the Cinementalists. Just go ahead and check them out. Watch a few movies whenever you can, and then listen to us talk about them. It's a good time. We love doing it. But yeah, with that, I think we can conclude this episode of The Cinementalists. And like I said, we'll be back next week with Return of the King, and then we will be doing our top 100 of the 20s in January. So stick with us, and you shan't be disappointed. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for.